Welcome to Bluegrass Brooklyn, our podcast all about the music we love, straight from the Bluegrass borough of Brooklyn, New York.
We are marching to your mansion in the night. Where's the money? Oh, I know you hide it well.
Hello, and welcome to this Monday edition of the Bluegrass Brooklyn podcast. I'm your host, Liz Wolfe, and in these editions, we explore topics that are related to and supporting our favorite music, bluegrass. Enjoy the show. Well, hello and welcome to this episode of the Bluegrass Brooklyn podcast. And today's guest is Kaia Kater. And Kaia is not only a songwriter, but she's a banjo player, she's a guitarist, and interestingly enough, a film composer. So welcome, Kaia.
Thanks, Liz. It's good to be here.
And the reason that I am interviewing Kaia specifically today is because she'll be at the Gray Fox Bluegrass Festival, and we're looking to highlight the artists that are at Gray Fox, and you'll be playing with Trey Wellington at that.
That's right. Yeah. Trey is a good friend of mine, and we love each other's artistic sensibilities. We're going to work up about an hour's worth of duo music, and then we'll be supported as well by a couple of wonderful musicians. So it should be a really fun, cool times. I'm a clawhammer banjo player and Trey plays three-finger, and so I think a good place to also look at the evolution of the banjo and the different paths that it's taken.
So you have had other collaborations with Trey. How did you two originally connect?
I think like a lot of artists, I was feeling pretty isolated during the pandemic, and I found a lot of community online, and I started seeing some of Trey's videos of him playing banjo. I didn't know about him before 2021. And he came out with an album, a beautiful album called Black Banjo. And I listened to it and just found it to be incredibly progressive, from kind of like hard driving bluegrass stuff to him adapting certain jazz standards and more modern jazz pieces to the banjo in a way that was very, very cool. And then we finally met in person at Americana Fest in 2022. We had sets that were kind of next to each other timing wise. And then a short while later, Trey reached out about getting me and Nelson Williams and Jake Blunt together to play a one-off set in Raleigh at Wide Open Bluegrass. And we had a lot of fun. So we just launched a band and then toured that band for a couple of years before hanging it up.
And so that was Nelson on bass and the other three of you on banjo?
No, so Jake Blunt is a banjo player and also a great fiddle player. So Jake played fiddle, and then Trey and I traded out banjo and guitar. So some songs I play rhythm guitar, some songs I play clawhammer banjo, and same with Trey with guitar and three-finger banjo.
And would you say that music trended more towards bluegrass or jazzy or fusion or funky?
I mean, I would say it's string band music, right? And within string band music, it encompasses a lot. Like you can have a trad jazz kind of string band scenario or a more bluegrassy string band scenario. So I would say we were probably exploring a lot of different things. We did play some jazz. We played a lot of like hard driving old time fiddle tunes, but then some of them would have three-finger banjo and fiddle, so it would be a different kind of sound. It wouldn't be like your traditional clawhammer banjo fiddle. So I think what we were really trying to go for was just pushing each other a little bit to be better. I think in its best format, that's what a band should be. And I definitely feel like I was playing singer-songwriter kind of strummy guitar, and then when I got into New Dangerfield, it was like I really had to suddenly learn how to play rhythm guitar so that I could be the backbone of the band with the bass. So it was like a really different way of playing and gave me so much more appreciation for fabulous rhythm guitarists. So yeah, it was just a fun little wormhole and adventure to go on.
Yeah, that's really fun. Do you only play clawhammer, or are you also delving into the three-finger world?
I've taken a few three-finger lessons, actually. I took a three-finger lesson with the late, great Bill Keith at Gray Fox when I was like 8 or something. But no, I would say clawhammer is really my first love. I don't really have any desire to learn how to play three-finger. I do have some desire to learn how to play like some of that two-finger, like Doc Boggs kind of style. But yeah, I don't have a desire to play like driving three-finger bluegrass banjo.
Yeah, so interesting how the sort of you go one way or the other. There are not a lot of banjo players that do both that I've met anyway.
Yeah, well, do you know Hillary Hawk?
Yes, I do know.
Yeah, she's what do you call her? A unicorn, because she can do both.
Yes.
Yeah.
She's
Yeah.
amazing. She's absolutely amazing. We've had her on the show as well. So you just mentioned that were at Gray Fox when you were 8 years old. Tell us more about your Gray Fox past experience.
Yeah, well, I mean, I love Gray Fox. I started attending Gray Fox before I even started playing the banjo. So my mom, I'm from a very folky family. I'm from Canada, and my grandpa built acoustic guitars, so there was always instruments in the house, and it was a way for us to relate to each other, especially in the holidays. It was like we would do song circles or things like that. So music was already a big part of my life. And then, lo and behold, the Oh Brother, Where Art Thou film came out in 2001. And I almost feel like the soundtrack was even more popular than the movie, or they were kind of these equal parts of the Coen brothers' Odyssey, Iliad adaptation, and then also all of these incredible artists coming together to make the soundtrack what it was. So my mom fell in love with bluegrass through that lens. And she was actually trying to go to, might have been Telluride or Rocky Grass in Colorado. She was looking up on AOL in the old days, like Bluegrass Festival near me. Right. And Colorado was going to be too far. And I was pretty young at the time. So she was like, oh, I can't road trip all the way out there. And so she found Gray Fox, which was maybe 8 hours away, but it was a closer drive on the East Coast from Montreal area. And so, yeah, so she brought me there, and I started going to the Gray Fox Bluegrass Academy for Kids when I was very young. And you're talking about trying all these different instruments. I mean, I feel like that's what I got to do, is I got to try guitar, I got to try upright bass, I got to try all these different instruments and fiddle. And it's so fun to do that. Like, in what other scenario would you get to try all the different instruments of the Bluegrass Orchestra? So yeah, that was great. And I finally landed on the banjo. And like I told you, I was very much encouraged to play three finger, but there was just something about it that didn't really sit right with me. So it wasn't until I found clawhammer banjo. And then that took me a little bit more into the old time world. But I was in the bluegrass world long before the old time world. Mm. And so Gray Fox is a huge part of my story. And I also won the Gray Fox Bluegrass Scholarship when I was in college to pay my way through school. So Gray Fox has just been there at every juncture. And I think they're a great example of a festival that, similar to Rocky Grass, is trying to cultivate the next generation of bluegrass musicians or songwriters or whatever, the next generation of music lovers.
For our listeners, that is something that Gray Fox does, is they have a scholarship which they give to college students who are pursuing music. So how did you come to be the recipient of that, other than your talent and skill, obviously?
Yeah. Well, so I went to school in West Virginia, had a scholarship to play the banjo at a school called Davis and Elkins College, which is also the home turf of the Augusta Heritage Center, just if people are thinking about camps and things like that. So, yeah, so, you know, it was like by a fortuitous push of chance that I found this school and got this scholarship and was able to go down and study old time music and harmony singing and things like that in a degreed setting. I mean, I did everything I could to make sure that my student loans weren't ballooning. So I was waitressing every summer and I was like really hustling. And then I found out about the Gray Fox scholarship, and it was a hefty enough amount. I remember applying and just realizing if I get this, then I can just exhale for the rest of my junior year. And yeah, and so it was incredibly such a sigh of relief when Gray Fox told me that I'd gotten the scholarship alongside Lainey Jones, who's another great musician. It was life-changing for me. And then I was able to save enough money to pay for my senior year. So I graduated with Gray Fox's help. I graduated student loan free. I mean, yeah, it's an American school, right? So the tuition was crazy. They really, truly made a difference in my life.
That's incredible. What's the process for applying for the scholarship?
I don't know. It's been about 12 years since I got the scholarship, so I would probably encourage people to double check. But I remember having to write a letter, which was easy for me to write a letter about Gray Fox because of all the things that I told you. So you have to write a letter, and then you also need to get a letter of support or a couple letters of support. So I remember getting my letter of support from Rhiannon Giddens, who is obviously an icon, a banjo auntie. And so I wrote her and just said, hey, here's where I'm at. I'm in school. I'm pursuing this thing. All the things that I told you, like, I'm really struggling financially. Could you help me with a support letter? And she sent it, God, in like less than a day. She sent this letter. And
Wow.
I think that might have been what turned the tables for me too. I think having a support letter from someone like her. So
Yeah, it almost is making me emotional to think about the support that an artist of her stature will give to an up and coming, another clawhammer banjo player, a woman of color, both of you, and just really being willing to be that support to that. I think that is one of the things to me that makes the bluegrass community so special.
very, very true. Yeah. And I think there's this thing where there's a lot of intergenerational support. And I feel like we see ourselves as links on a chain. And so I think a lot about the way that Rhiannon supported me, and God, so many other wonderful musicians supported me, Aoife O'Donovan, Allison Russell, and then think about how can I turn around and help someone else who's coming up, because I feel like, oh, I don't have that much power, but maybe it is the difference of writing a letter in support of someone that could make their life a lot easier.
Yeah, that's
So
incredible. What had you choose to go to West Virginia instead of good old Canadian tuitions?
I was recruited. So yeah, I sent a CD. This was like back in 2011. I had a little CD with all these Chad songs that I'd covered, and I mailed it into the Augusta Heritage Center because at that point I was waitressing, wasn't going to school, but was going to these camps on scholarship. So I went to the Swananoa Gathering on scholarship and probably would have applied to Ashokin eventually. But yeah, I was applying to Augusta, which is obviously on the campus of this school. And then the president at the time was really mulling over the idea of having a string band as like a kind of ambassador cohort for the school. Oh. So he really wanted a string band to go around in these different communities in West Virginia and recruit students to the school. So I was just timing. I happened to send my CD in. It got into the hands of the president through various wonderful Augusta Heritage Center staff. And then they reached out, and I thought it was a phishing scam for sure. I was like, "Wow, you're going to give me a discount to go to school here to play in the string band?" So my mom and I drove down on May long weekend, and then by September I was enrolled and going to school there.
Oh, amazing. What is the music program like there?
So it's not a music program, like a degreed program. So I would take string band class, I took a harmony singing class, and I took some dance classes. But I ended up getting my degree in religion and philosophy. So it's almost like what a football player would do. You are contracted to play a certain amount of games to get the scholarship that you get, but you're not going to major in football. Right. So that's more what it was like I had rehearsals, I had concerts, like my idea of games. We would drive, we would do weekend shows, and then I would come home and write my philosophy paper. So that was the vibe.
That's really great. Yeah. I mean, don't you think we need more banjo scholarships in the world?
I really do.
We have a lot of football scholarships. Let's get some banjo scholarships.
We need to get our numbers up.
Right. For sure.
Yeah.
That's great. Well, going back to Gray Fox for a moment. So you started as a youngster. There you were in the kids' academy and learning banjo, et cetera. Did you have ever imagined that you would be up on the stage?
No. No, well, and they do bring you up on stage like when you're part of the academy for the last, I mean, you
That's
know
true.
this.
Yeah.
But I remember getting on that stage the first time when I was like 9 or 10 and just being so overwhelmed. It felt so big. That Gray Fox stage felt so big, and yeah, I revere it so much now. Because I when I won the scholarship, I got to go on stage and play one tune solo. And I just had that flashback of like, oh my God, I remember when I was on here as a kid. So
Yeah.
yeah, it's just amazing.
And then how did the call come for you to go back to play on the Gray Fox stage as a professional musician?
So it was maybe 5 years after I'd gotten my scholarship. So I graduated and was touring quite a bit and transitioning into being a music professional. And I believe it was Gray Fox that reached out to my agent and just said, "Hey, we'd love to have Kaia come up." This would have been in 2018. And it was an easy yes because I go to Gray Fox every year if I'm playing or not. In 2024, I had festivals every weekend of July and August, like 8 in a row, except for the one weekend in July that was Gray Fox weekend. And so I went to Gray Fox. My one weekend off from 8 festivals, I went to Gray Fox, which says a lot. I would not do that for any festival. So
That's right. And you go
yeah.
with your mom still.
Yeah, yeah, that's where we meet up. Yeah, she lives in St. John's, Newfoundland now. But yeah, that's where we get together. It's like a family gathering.
Yeah, I love it.
Uh,
And then was last year you came with the New Dangerfield group.
mhm.
And so that was a special project that you got to do. Tell us a little bit about that.
New Dangerfield was because we've gone on hiatus now, but in our day, we were one of the few modern black string bands that were working in roots music, and so we took that really seriously. And I think we all have different solo careers in which we explore different things. I think more known as a songwriter. Trey has very progressive bluegrass. Jake Blunt makes all kinds of music, including pretty electronic kind of synthy stuff. So we're all in these different directions, but the thing that connected us was that we had these roots in really loving roots music and old time music. And so when we came back together, like I've said, just the desire to make like really good, hard driving string band music and also to honor and remember the black foremothers and forefathers who made it possible for us to be playing this music and to be reclaiming this music. It was like a living history project almost.
Mhm.
But we didn't want it to be kind of too sad feeling. Like we have a lot of up-tempo tunes. And it's also with a group of talented, hardworking, busy people, sometimes it's really hard to keep something like that together. And so we disbanded as New Dangerfield. But Trey and I have found that we still really enjoy playing together. And yeah, Gray Fox reached out and said, "Do you guys want to do something?" But I think it's going to be a cool collaboration for people to see at Gray Fox.
Yes. So, do you have in either your attending Gray Fox from your child years up until or and as a performer, do you have a Gray Fox story that stands out to you?
Mm. Oh, yeah. This would have been Gray Fox, I think 2022. It was the year that there was a great big deluge. I was sitting on the hill watching I'm With Her. And then all of a sudden, the crew were running out and tarping down stuff, and the band was ushered off. And I just remember rain blowing sideways. It was just absolutely insane weather, like, biblical weather. And soaked. I was soaked down to my underwear. It was just, the rain was crazy. And so everything stayed tarped, but I'm With Her came back out and they had just one mic and they did the rest of their set just just really kind of old time style on this one mic, and it was an incredibly beautiful moment. And I was just realizing, I was like, I wouldn't have seen this if there hadn't been this crazy weather. And I love that they came back out after having their whole stage setup kind of messed up. And it just felt like this one moment that we all got to share together under the stars. I don't know if you remember that.
I was there for sure. I was absolutely there. We have a shade tent behind the shade line at the top, and we sit in, and my friend and I were like, we'll be fine in our stupid shade tent. And I mean, it was just the whole side of the shade tent was just blowing in against us like, rah. And we ran actually over into the Walsh tent. There's that tent that they have they bring couches in and all that stuff. We were like, we're not really supposed to be here right now, but this is the only place. And we ended up having a great conversation with somebody. It always rains at least once like that there.
Yeah.
But it also reminds me of a separate story let's see, it would have been somewhere around 2003, whenever the blackout in New York City happened. I think my son was around 3 years old, and I was supposed to be seeing the Indigo Girls that day, and they were playing at the summer stage. And we got there really early, like 3 in the afternoon. We were playing Uno. We were just hanging out. We didn't know that there was a blackout because we didn't have phones, we didn't have anything. And they were trying to make sure people got there and stuff. So finally we got in. I don't know, the show was at like 7 or something. But there was no electricity. But they did have a generator. And the Indigo Girls came out and sang a set. Same thing, one mic, just on the generator. And of course, no one was really there. So we were right up front to it. And there they were. And I was such a fan. And so, it's amazing how these weather events like this, or these natural events, will cause you to have such a beautiful moment like that.
Oh, that's amazing. What an incredible story.
Yeah. The other fun part about that is, because they couldn't really do their concert, we got to see them twice because they honored the ticket at a later date.
Hell yeah. Hell yeah.
So we did the whole thing all over again. It was really
yeah, that's amazing. Wow. What a memory. And it is one of those things. I was thinking about this as an audience member. I think we do remember the times where something goes wrong on stage, or when an artist is humanized in some way. It's a beautiful thing. It's like human resilience and beauty, and just the beauty of music, like bringing us all back together after this collective thing. It's brilliant.
And to expect it also. I mean, wouldn't it be lovely if we had 4 perfect days of weather? But the reality is, it's the middle of summer. It's going to be hot.
Yeah.
I now always bring rubber boots whenever I go to Gray Fox.
Yes, because there have been a couple of mud years that have been really bad. Yeah. Oh, man.
And that's not to discourage anyone, because to me, that's the most fun. Like when you just don't bother with your shoes because you're just going to get them muddy or whatever it is. But yeah, we all got rubber boots for Christmas one year because we're like, we're never doing that again.
Yeah, totally. And that's actually, I'm picturing Gray Fox now. I think the thing that has kept me coming back all these years, beyond seeing my family, is that there's just such community, and there's like a level of zaniness that is just, it's so joyful. And also learning that there are people who go and they just can't, like, they never go to main stage. They just turn on the radio and you can hear main stage, and they like hang out and pick and play tunes. There's so much choose your own adventure at Gray Fox.
That is for sure.
And yeah, I always leave feeling more goodwill towards humanity than I came in with, because there is so much kindness and love. So yeah.
Yeah, I think that's what keeps me coming back as well. I feel like each year has a theme for me. Like one year, I'll circle all the musicians in the program and be running from stage to stage.
Yep.
Another year, maybe the year of the deluge, I just stayed at my camp and people came by and we picked until 3, 4 in the morning.
Yeah.
Then there was the year that I just wandered through Gray Fox everywhere. And I just feel like I just met really cool people everywhere I went and got to play cool music and learned a lot. It upped my musicianship, the level of my musicianship quite a bit. So many ways to experience it for sure. And then there's the camping, of course. Cooking, and if you have young kids, if you have older kids, it changes year to year. So that's really fun.
Yeah. Well said.
So do you have other exciting tours and ventures happening for yourself right now other than Gray Fox?
Well, I actually just am coming off of a very busy 2026. First half of 2026 has been pretty much nonstop touring. So I am currently writing for a new album. My pace is slowing down quite a bit. I'm playing Gray Fox, and also I'm playing Rotterdam Bluegrass Festival and High Mountain Hay Fever Festival, which is in Colorado, which is Ron Thomason's festival. Ron, of course, of Dry Branch Fire Squad fame, who leads the Sunday Gospel every Gray Fox. So I believe that Ron first heard of me kind of tangentially through Gray Fox, and I've been such a fan of his for years and years. So it's going to be fun to go play his festival in Colorado, in Westcliff. And and that's about it for me. More recording and hopefully more music on the horizon.
Okay. And so future aspirations? Big dreams?
Geez, stay alive, stay hopeful, and stay alive, stay hopeful, stay present.
That's wonderful. Well, thank you so much for taking the time to speak with me today. It's been great, a lot of fun. And I am definitely going to catch your show at Gray Fox when I am there.
Awesome. Come say hi. Thanks, Liz.
Well, hello and welcome to Tamara Kater, Kaia Kater's mom. She's not just a mom, she's also the executive director of an organization called Music NL, which is in Newfoundland and Labrador up there in Canada. So welcome.
Thank you so much, Liz. Thrilled to be here. Always love talking about music, especially bluegrass.
Yes. Well, in our brief chat before we got on, you said that Gray Fox preceded this musical career that you're having at Music NL. So when was the first time you went to Gray Fox?
I think it was 2003, 2004. I'm part of that "Oh Brother, Where Art Thou" generation, where I heard the soundtrack. I got really excited. I was like, oh, I used to listen to, my parents listened to a lot of this music, and I'd been raised on Will the Circle Be Unbroken and that kind of history. And I got on the internet, which at the time I think was Yahoo. It wasn't even a Google. And I tried to find the closest bluegrass festival to where I lived, which at the time was Ottawa, Ontario. So that's how I ended up going to Gray Fox. Kaia was about 11 or 12, and she came along with me to the very first one at the old site. It had rained a lot when we arrived, and we didn't know anything. We just knew the road was closed. So we decided to hike up the hill. So we hiked up the hill together, which when I look back on it, was a very symbolic way to enter the community of Gray Fox by climbing that big mountain into the music.
Was Kaia playing any musical instruments at that point?
Yeah, Kaia was a musical kid from the get-go. I certainly listened to a lot of music. I did not play music professionally, but when she was young, I decided to start playing the guitar. And so I learned the guitar by playing kids' songs because they're all fairly easy and you know the melody, and it's a great starting point. And then over time, Kaia started taking piano lessons. She took cello lessons. And eventually, through going to Gray Fox, she started playing the banjo.
So are you still playing the guitar yourself?
Very rarely, but I still know how to play, which is good. And sometimes I get a little bit more deeply into it and have a little burst of guitar energy in my life. I think when I started to work in music, that kind of occupied a channel in my life. of musical satisfaction. I was somehow feeling that expression differently. So I didn't end up playing guitar as much in that period.
So you're still coming to Gray Fox every year?
I am still coming to Gray Fox. The only time that I missed Gray Fox, aside from the blurry pandemic years, was when I got a job running a very big music festival in Manitoba. And it was kind of my dream job. And it was hard to say no to it, but I couldn't go to Gray Fox.
And now have you established with your job that you will always have July off?
I will always have July off. Yeah. So I've had this job for almost 2 years. And when I was offered the job, it was close to the end of June. And I was like, love you, love the job. I am here for the job. I will take my laptop with me. I will work from Foxhole. I will work from the Milk Run, etc. But I am not missing Gray Fox. And Kaia still camps with us. And it's been really great. I mean, going on probably a 25-year tradition now.
So it must be a little different to go now that your daughter is actually playing at Gray Fox rather than just hanging out with you at the campsite.
Yeah, it is. I mean, I think it's most different for her because instead of it being her kickback and just be an audience member, she has to get up and go to work. But she also wants to stay in the campground, and working from a tent as a musician, a little bit more challenging, getting dressed for stage and all of that stuff. But altogether, I mean, it's just a joy. There's so many people in the Gray Fox community that have known Kaia since she went there the first year. The first year she went, she was in the Bluegrass Academy for Kids. So, she's very much gone through that journey. And over the years, we all make friends, all of us. The kids make friends, adults make friends, we make new friends. We have friends that are carried through all the years. And it's just really wonderful to see her in that environment. We still sit main stage out with the audience, even if she is an artist and she has the wristband to go backstage. I still line up and do the rodeo at 6 a.m. and we all still participate in those things because it's such a part of the experience.
It really is. I heard that you go to Foxhole as well.
I do. That's true. I am a citizen of the Gray Fox community for as many days of the year as I possibly can. I buy my plane ticket. I have traveled far to be there, so I am going to be with the people as long as I can. There's a whole community at Foxhole. We even have a book club now that we have at Foxhole. So we're all reading books.
Okay,
I just is
know about the book club in Foxhole.
Yeah. Like for so many Gray Fox folks in music communities around the world and music festivals around the world, you meet people, they become lifelong friends. Your friendship begins to grow outside of the event. You see each other sometimes non-festival time. And it's just a beautiful thing.
So for the listeners who don't know, the Foxhole is the festival before the festival, which actually goes from the Wednesday before the Wednesday that you can get into Gray Fox. So it's a whole week.
And yeah, it's just a giant picking party, right? There's no stages. There's no performances. It is just people who are so excited to be there that they show up early and play music with each other.
So do you bring your guitar when you come?
I do not bring my guitar. If I play music on those rare moments, I actually just plod along. I'm very much a slow jammer. And, I know I would be welcome in that circumstance. It's just not really ever been the experience that I've been looking for. Maybe one day it will be. I don't know.
Mm-hmm.
And I'll bring my guitar down.
And open invitation. So being the podcast in residence, we are actually hosting a Women's Voices Jam at Gray Fox on Friday evening from 5 to 6:30.
Oh, wonderful.
One of the features at Gray Fox they've added this year, which they're calling the Fox Hollow, and it's down in the vendor area near the beer tent, which is convenient for those of us who like beer. And on Thursday, Friday, and Saturday, 5 to 6:30, Bluegrass Brooklyn is doing a hosted jam. The first night's going to be a singing jam for those of you who like to sing but don't necessarily want to play, or both. And then Friday night will be the Women's Voices Jam. And then Saturday, Mike is leading a what we call an outlaw jam, which is all songs about going to jail or something bad or whatever. So
Yeah.
it'd be nice to see you there for one of those with or without guitar. So do you have a favorite Gray Fox story other than your first arrival climbing up the hill?
Oh my gosh. There are many, and they often involve the weather, right? You know, the windstorms and holding down your tent. One of my favorites that comes to mind is the year, it would have been the very, very bad mud year just before the pandemic, where the site was shut down and even the porta potty trucks couldn't get in and they had to be hauled by tractor. Do you remember that year?
Yes.
It was mud up to your knees in a lot of places. And we had a friend of ours, as the rainy weekend was starting, because I had worked with festivals in a certain phase of my life, I was looking at the campsite roads, the farmer's field, and I was like, oh, this place is not going to be open very much longer. And we had one of our friends coming in. So me and one of my campmates, Sonia, we basically walked up and down all the roads, and we figured the best way for him to get in without bottoming out in the mud. But of course, it wasn't straight in. We basically did this topographical survey and found the circuitous route for him to come in where the least chances of him getting stuck, because you didn't want to get stuck. I mean, no one wants to do that, but particularly for safety, like they don't need another vehicle stuck on site, etc. And Sonia and I led our friend Matt through this kind of, okay, turn right here. Okay, now you're going to want to bank all the way right. And we led him all the way through. And there was only one point where we knew we'd probably have to push him. So we pushed him just a little bit up and around he went. And there you go. He made it to Gray Fox that year. And then I think the next morning, the site was totally shut down.
Well, those are the challenging stories, but it just also shows the deep level of commitment people have to showing up. And some of the times, I don't want anyone to get the idea that it's going to rain every time and be horrible and muddy and all that. There can be some challenges. It's a farmer's field, but there's always a smiling face and a pleasant exchange. That's for sure.
Yeah, there really is. And there's a beautiful sense of whimsy, I think, that almost everybody brings into that event. And I feel like the leadership of Gray Fox have done such a good job of fostering that whimsy. Like the whole parade when we enter on rodeo day is so beautiful. And the campsite decoration, so to speak, or installations are wonderful. You know, Christmas in July, Schoonavar, all of these places that are deep in ritual and whimsy at the same time. I think those lift my heart. And I spend, I think, equal amounts of time taking in the music, which is phenomenal, both on stage and in the campgrounds. And then I spent a lot of time wandering around and just observing the joy of people, seeing, you know, the quilt that someone's made and they've worked on all year to hang at Gray Fox, little funny jokes. A lot of people have a really good sense of humor. And those are things that are hard to explain to people. Everybody knows I'm going to a music festival, but beyond that, I think just the culture of whimsy and beauty and kindness that exists there it's hard to describe until you take someone there. And I think it's an opportunity where people do get to pick, and that side of it is so important, all the music. But I feel like people let out their whimsy a little bit more when there's this playfulness that comes out. And that is a really beautiful side of the festival and unique to Gray Fox. It's like a little bit of Dr. Seuss everywhere for everybody.
So, in addition to that, you're going to be able to see Kaia play. I mean, that must bring the level of your experience of Gray Fox to a different level of intentionality about being there. Right? You know, for me, I'm just going and my daughter's going to come along. For you, it's like, hey, Kaia's going to be on stage. And so tell me a little bit about your experience as a mother having a daughter on the stage at Gray Fox.
Yeah, I mean, it started with the Bluegrass Academy, right? And so many parents did that, and it just seemed like such a fun experience for Kaya. So to watch her work really hard and just to kind of watch her evolution, even watching her realize, like, she realized at one point that Maya Dimitri, who's a wonderful artist, was in the Stray Birds, who had also played at Gray Fox, but they realized they were both Gray Fox Bluegrass Kids alumni and had both of them spent a lot of their childhood out in that campground. So that's been an extra thing to watch, kind of weaving in between the years. And I think to watch Kaya return to it, for her to find her place as an adult there, as a performer, for her to be invited to play with some of the late night jams, the all star sort of things that happen. And that has been really, really neat for her to find that space as she's evolved as a human and in her career. I mean, I just find it really joyful because she loves it there. And it's so nice that there is that opportunity for her to continue to be a part of it in a different way. And to camp, mostly, honestly, I get really happy, Liz, because she gets to camp with us and I just get to spend 5 days at Gray Fox with Kaya. To me, it's a little bit of selfish, like, yay, she'll be there for sure because she's playing, you know? So I know for sure that she's going to be in attendance. And I think, like all of us, if you've been to Gray Fox for a while, you love nothing more than to meet someone and it's their first time and to see it through their eyes and to have that level, that excitement, you know? And we love nothing more than to recruit newcomers to be like, you should come. We all have these invitations out in the community. Like, one day, I know this friend of mine is going to show up. Like, it'll happen one day and I'll be able to live through the experience of their first Gray Fox through their eyes. Welcome them into our camp. All those things are so much fun. But to get back to Kaya and being a mom there, it's really nice that we just still get to do this together. It just brings me deep joy. And all of our campmates too. They've known Kaya for so many years. And I think it brings us all joy to see her up there, to see her having been a little kid in the Bluegrass Academy and then playing on stage. It's a really beautiful arc.
Yeah. Thank you for that. So I appreciate very much you taking the time to speak to me today. I can't wait. I guess I'm going to see you at the Foxhole and then at Gray Fox this year. And
Yeah.
chance to continue the conversation then.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, hello, new Gray Fox friend. Nice to meet you here.
Yes. See, there we go. We're lifelong friends now.
There you go.
Thank you so much for listening. Again, my name is Liz Wolfe. Please subscribe to our podcast and follow us on our social media so you never miss an episode. You can find us online at bluegrassbrooklyn.com. Brooklyn is spelled BKLYN. See you around the jam circle.
I put on the rosy glasses, make my way along the path, try to rattle all your cages, let the tigers out.